Hello everyone, welcome to my fourth video on why I'm going to vote for the UK to remain in the EU. My fourth reason for voting Remain is to do with our natural environment and the wildlife that we share it with. We all like animals, don't we? They're cute and fluffy and cuddly, but nature's more important than that, isn't it? Ultimately, all of our economic and social prosperity depends on us having a healthy natural environment to provide us with clean air to breathe, water to survive on, bees to pollinate our flowers to give us food, and frankly without those things, even with the best economic plan, we're screwed. But nature doesn't respect natural boundaries. Migrating birds, for example, they don't care or know whether they're in the part of the world that we call the UK or the part of the world we call France or Spain or Italy. And there's little point in us legislating to protect them in the UK if they all get shot whilst flying over Italy. So nature conservation legislation is so much more powerful, so much more effective when it's done at European level. And this is something that the EU is good at. It's not perfect, of course we should continue making it better and improving it. But I contend that protecting the environment is something that the EU does better than national governments can possibly do. And I'll give you two examples of EU legislation to support this. Firstly, the Habitats Directive. This is legislation adopted in 1992 to maintain biodiversity. It protects over 1,000 animal and plant species and more than 200 different types of natural habitats. And it does that across all 28 countries of the EU. Secondly, the Zoos Directive. This is legislation aimed to strengthen the roles that zoos play in biodiversity, the conservation of biodiversity. And it's also set standards for the licensing and inspection of zoos, again, across all the countries of the EU. It's in legislation like this, alongside significant reductions in air pollution and in water pollution, that the EU have been able to achieve far more than national governments would have been able to do individually. And that's why British organisations such as the Royal Society for the Protection of Birds and the British part of the World Wildlife Fund have come out strongly in favour of remaining in the EU. The chief executive of the RSPB, Mike Clark, said, and I quote, "The EU has provided many benefits to wildlife and the natural environment that would be hard to replicate if we left. The safer option is for nature is for the UK to remain in the EU." So, protection of the natural environment, that's my fourth reason for voting to remain in the EU. Thank you.